One of the most important powers that the president has is what we call the bully pulpit. This is definitely an informal power. This is nothing official. It's not any special thing that the Constitution gives the president, but it is just the way that Americans accept the president and listen to the president that gives this office a tremendous amount of power. So we're going to look at how the president can use the media and the president's ability to influence the public to see to really advance their policies and advance their interpretation of things. Here in the background, we see President Trump on TV. The president speaking, and it's being carried on TV, and all sorts of people see it here. This is one of the president's most important powers and one of their very important skills. And this is one of the things that President Trump has been best at. So the president, by the nature of this office, has an advantage over everyone else in the government. First of all, there's only one president. So the president is an easy person for the American public to understand. It's one person that holds this office. That's much easier than the public having to deal with 535 congressmen or knowing who their local officials are or anything like that. So the president has that advantage, but also the office itself is just seen as a position of authority. Like that, the president is in charge of the whole country. And so your average American citizen accepts that. It's easy to understand. This is the person in charge, and that's a thing that a member of Congress or a member of the courts or a member of the local government just doesn't have. So the position gives the president the opportunity and the credibility that when they speak to the public accepts it. This is a phrase. The bully pulpit is a phrase invented by Teddy Roosevelt. So it really started in the early 1900s here. So what we're dealing with is like the first time that the president is starting to be able to use the media. So with Teddy Roosevelt, one of those presidents who understood the importance of speaking to the public and getting the public on their side. And as the media has evolved since Teddy Roosevelt's time, the radio amplifies this ability, and then television amplifies this ability, and now the internet through first things like YouTube, but now obviously President Trump's use of Twitter has really amplified this power to speak to the public. One of the main and kind of closest thing to an official form of using the bully pulpit is what we call an Oval Office address. So you can see this. The picture at the beginning of this section was President Trump making an Oval Office address. Here's President Barack Obama making an Oval Office address. This is where the president sits at the president's desk and just gives a speech. The president explains how they think about something. Now how this starts is the president, if they want to speak to the American public, then they generally inform all of the major news reporting networks that they plan on addressing the country. So the president's office will reach out to NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox, also CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, reach out to websites that broadcast things and just let them know that they plan on giving a speech to address the public. Networks know that this is going to get a lot of attention, so they almost always postpone their programming to broadcast the president's message. It's very, very rare that the network won't postpone what they're already showing to let the president speak to the public. Just once in my memory, NBC had the opening game of an NFL season, and they chose to play the opening NFL game because they knew it would get more viewers than the president's speech spread across all the channels. But in general, the president's speech is going to get eyeballs on the television, and so the networks want to broadcast this message. Now, when all of the networks are playing the president just sitting at his desk and talking to the American public, this gives the president an opportunity to speak directly to the public about an emergency or about a new policy or about whatever they want. And so the president will use the Oval Office address in a time of emergency, or the president may use the Oval Office address to speak to the public about here is a problem and here's my solution to the problem. But they're just going to sit at their desk, speak directly into the camera, and that is a way that the president is able to broadcast themselves into the homes of millions of Americans across the country and speak directly to them. This is the best example of the bully pulpit because no other member of American government has an opportunity to do this, right? No other office in the government seems as important, and no other office would the networks stop showing what they were showing on TV to broadcast a live speech from this government official. So this is a huge advantage that the president has in reaching the public that no other office has. So here, Oval Office address, the president just going to let the networks know, I want to speak to the people Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. Tuesday night at 8 o'clock, the network's going to stop everything. They're going to broadcast the president directly into the homes of Americans, and the president has an opportunity to talk directly to the American people. So the best use of the bully pulpit, the way that the president uses this the most effectively, is the president is probably going to ask Congress to pass a certain policy. Then they're going to use the bully pulpit, which again is pretty vague. It's not always an Oval Office address, but it's just the president communicating to the public in general. They're going to use their position to speak to the public to get public opinion on their side. So the president tells Congress, here's what I want you to do. And if Congress doesn't immediately start doing what the president wants, the president is going to reach out to the public and say, here's what I want Congress to do. The public is going to accept the president's message. They're more likely to accept a message from the president, and the president may encourage the American people to pressure their congressmen to pass the policy that the president wants. This has been a move of presidents for a long, long time now. So presidents, Obama did this. Obama would say, here's a solution. I need Congress to pass this important legislation so that I can help solve the economic collapse. And he'd give this speech to the public. The public would pressure their lawmakers, and eventually Congress passed the legislation that President Obama wanted. Trump did this with immigration. Trump thought immigration was a major emergency, so he wanted Congress to pass tough immigration laws and build the wall. He gave an Oval Office address about the immigration emergency and tried to convince the American people that he needed the money for his wall. And in this instance, it didn't necessarily work, but this usually works where Congress eventually comes around, because congressmen, they worry about re-election. They need to be popular. So if that president is popular, Congress will adjust their position to go along with the popular president. And if the president is unpopular, then Congress may have a little more room to not cooperate with the president. So here's President Trump again, sitting in the Oval Office, giving his Oval Office address. But this is an example of the president using the bully pulpit. This is one of the most important powers that the president has, and this power is only becoming more and more important to the president as the media increases its connectivity with American citizens. So as television became more and more important, and now the internet, we've got screens in our pocket at all times. So the president is able to communicate to the public so effectively in a way that no other person in government can. And this is allowing, one of the main things that allows the president's power to expand.